Marla. So I really didn't want to talk about dating tonight, but it turns out that's the most tragically hilarious part of my life. So I blame my mother, you know? She's 70. All the dating advice she ever gave me was from the 50s. You know, she's like, now Marla, be sure the man picks you up at your house for the first date. And don't talk too much about your career. Men like to know they're needed. Better yet, don't talk about your career at all. Just focus on how many kids you want to have. Babies, lots of babies. Men love that. Yeah, so that hasn't worked out too well for me. Bless her heart, though. She desperately wants grandkids. And I made the mistake once of telling her about this date I went on. I was like, oh, well, he showed me his erection 30 minutes into the date, and then spent the entire dinner fantasizing about me in a bikini on the beach, out loud. And when I demanded that he take me home, he looked at me and he said, girl, our sex would be so good, you'd have twins.
Never came on it, and it was the people who printed our menu
My mom was like,
that messed that up, and then he's new, so I'm really
that's
sorry about that.
So exciting! Here, we're gonna have twins! She still hasn't forgiven me for turning him down for that second date. My roommate still hasn't forgiven me for letting a psychopath know where we live. If you're dating in LA, it's really hard, right? I mean, you never know if a guy wants to get into your pants or if he just wants to get a job at your office. I was talking to this one guy for like an hour, and he goes to give me his number, and it's on his resume. Well, I see here you are a fast typer, proficient at Excel, and an excellent multitasker. That sounds like a fun date. I will be sure to let you know if ever I'm in need of a lover who can make a spreadsheet wicked fast and insists on watching television while he pleasures me. Thank you for your interest. We'll be in touch. And there's always that inevitable first date, you know, where you're both coming from somewhere else. So, you know, you have to drive separate cars, right? And that's the worst. I mean, how am I supposed to judge you if I can't even see what kind of car you drive? I mean, I'm going to be at dinner all like, oh, so that phone number you gave me, is that like your office or an iPhone 4S? Oh, a payphone. Huh. Okay, but just to be clear, are we talking like a payphone outside the Whole Foods or like an alley behind the 7-Eleven? Certain difference. I'm casually dating now. It's fairly new for me. Yeah, there's one move. It's taught me a lot about myself. You know, I actually discovered that I like dressing up. I enjoy meeting new people, and I'm a lot more likely to get naked if I don't give a shit about you. Weird, right? Getting casually dumped, though, that's the worst. I mean, not even because I like the guy so much, but because that's basically him saying, I don't even like you enough to sleep with you when I have nothing better to do. Well, yeah? Well, I faked all my orgasms. Everyone's sexting these days, too, you know, and that's really hard for me because I'm a writer. I have to proofread everything. I'm like, take out your cock, comma. Wait, period? That seems so final. Exclamation point. Oh, Marla, you don't want to give it all away too soon. Question? Let's face it, it's not really a question. It stresses me out, you know? And I can't help but be turned off, you know, by poor spelling, punctuation, right? I'm like, coming is spelled with an O, not a U. There's not even a subject in that sentence. What's coming? Who's coming? What? I even tried online dating, and that was just humiliating. Match.com sends you these emails every week, and mine always went something like this. Based on your profile, we think you'd find happiness with the following people. Meet Pancake 457, a 59-year-old Indian man who has absolutely no preference for age, race, education, or religion. Basically, if you have a heartbeat, Punjabi is your man. So I winked at him. First he didn't respond, but my mom always said you should make sure a guy knows you want a serious relationship with him. So I winked again. I got this email back from him. Dear Great Personality 84, you are making me uncomfortable. Please stop winking at me. You ever play an online game just to pass the time, and then you end up playing it so much you wind up in a relationship? Like Words with Friends, you know? It starts off innocently enough. You write motor, he adds boat. You write ball, he adds an S and writes stroke. You write oral, he writes anal, and before you know it, you're writing things like lick, suck, and ravage. 8 months later, see him do 1, 2, 3 is the longest relationship I've had in years. Thank you. 8 months, thank you. I really hope he's not a girl.